As the CEO of this small but dynamic industry association, it's my job to advocate for the collegiate interests of the KIC members. And in doing that, I focus my attention on a number of key strategic issues that, if resolved, would improve the competitive position of the members collectively. The first one, number one, is preservation of the industrial buffer zone. That is by far and away our most important key strategic issue. We're making progress on that, but it has been a long haul. We have an application in to the West Australian Planning Commission for a special control area. When that gets resolved, we will be able to tick that issue off. The buffer zone is of critical importance to the long-term sustainability of industry. The second key strategic issue is the availability of future land for industrial expansion. So at the moment, the core of the industrial area is pretty much full. The Rockingham Industries Zone hasn't got an awful lot left unallocated, surprisingly. That's Lithium Valley companies coming in there that are doing that. And Latitude 32 hasn't really yet started to be developed. So that's where the potential lies. And so we need to put a fair bit of effort into getting that to happen. The third strategic issue is what I call the governance issue. So we have the Western Trade Coast governed in a local governance sense by three local governments, the cities of Rockingham, Kwinana and Coburn. Each of those has a different planning scheme, has a different culture, have their own parochial interests, and to a greater or lesser extent understand the needs of industry. We need to simplify that. We deal with numerous government departments, regulators and land allocators and so forth. That's complex, and there's also planning and transport and so forth. It's very complex. So we need to simplify that somehow as well. What we'd like to do is to create a Western Trade Coast Development Authority or board. And when I say we create, it's not us, it would be the state government that would do that. And that entity would be a trading enterprise. We would say that the board should be probably 2/3 private sector business people. The shareholder of the entity would be the state government, the shareholder, responsible for all aspects of managing the industrial area within the Western Trade Coast, including international business development. The fourth key strategic issue is available processed water. So water available for industrial processes, whether that's to be used as steam or for cooling towers or used in a process. 75% of the water that industry uses, and it's about 17 gigalitres, comes from groundwater, and so groundwater supplies are diminishing. So we have to find new emerging sources of water for industrial processes. Now, primarily and logically, that would be reusing the wastewater that is currently going out to sea, and managed aquifer recharge is a pretty obvious way to achieve that. So we're pursuing that with the Water Corporation and government departments and so forth, and we're making progress on that. The sixth key strategic issue is around debottlenecking constraints on industry. So that could be the capacity of pipelines in the service corridors throughout the industrial area. They're complex, multiple ownerships, multiple easements. It's too hard. We need to simplify that. Road constraints. Road's not bad, but it's getting a lot tighter, and when we get the new port here in Kwinana, if we do, when we get that in itself will attract a whole lot more international interest for industrial expansion. And Lithium Valley itself, those companies are going to increase the demand on the road, bringing all their spodumene concentrate and hard rock in, for example. That'll be by road. Rail bottlenecks. So when infrastructure like rail or a port is operating at 80%, That's about the point at which it's at full capacity. If you can get another train slot available, congratulations, but you won't get one after that. So that means delays, congestion, roads being in the industrial area being blocked for a long time while long trains wind their way past. It creates other inefficiencies in the industry. Inefficiencies translate to increased costs and delays. So we need to get the rail network debottlenecked. What the new port in Kwinana will do is recast the rail network so that it is debottlenecked. So this is one of the reasons why we're so supportive of having the new port, the new freight port in Kwinana. The next aspect in this constraint is ports. So we have 3 private ports, Alcoa, BP and CBH, the grain terminal, and we have 2 public infrastructure ports run by Fremantle Ports. Both of those 2 jetties are operating at or around 80% capacity, which means they're pretty much 100% committed. So we are seeing constraints on industry because it's harder and harder to get the loads in and out because the berths are tied up so much. Now, this came about more because government capital for expansion of these public jetty infrastructure pieces hasn't been forthcoming enough. Governments fund projects generally that get quite a bit of public recognition, and jetties, freight jetties, don't fall into that category. So Fremantle Ports has been pretty constrained in its ability to raise capital to do this work. Again, the Westport process, the process of defining where the new port infrastructure should be, and coming to Kwinana, we think will resolve those. So you've heard that Westport, once implemented, will resolve a lot of the constraints within the existing industrial area. Hence our enthusiasm for that project. Thank you.